It's a beautiful day here in Malvik. Started off at about freezing point and probably rise to about +5 during the day. Quite a strong southeasterly wind blowing. Thought I would give you a little tour of my the windowsills in the living room where I force most of our leafy greens at the moment. It is possible to harvest some things like Hristo, Caucasian spinach, and a few of the early sprouting onions outside in the garden, but most of our veg at the moment comes from these forcing pots, which it's a combination of perennials, roots dug up in the autumn, some biennials, also roots dug in the autumn, and a few seed propagated seed sprouts also grown in soil. And let's just have a look at what we've got here. First of all, we have this chicory. This is a dark-leaved Witloof forcing type of chicory, which grew very well in the community garden last year. Here we have one of the Witloof types that were also grown and dug up in the community garden in the autumn. This is a Witloof, Belgian Witloof forcing chicory, which has been blanched by putting a large bucket over this other bucket. So we're starting to harvest them now. This is an onion, perennial onion, which has been in the windowsill now for a couple of months. Cut and come again. This is an onion a perennial onion I call Hristo's onion, which came from an internet buddy in Bulgaria, who got this particular hybrid onion from I think it was Uzbekistan, and it seems to be a hybrid between Allium flavescens and Allium nutans. Two easily perennial, very hardy onions. Up on the windowsill here we have cress coming along very nicely, sown about a week ago. This is the Kandahar cress from the experimental farm network in the US, which is a rather robust, large plant. If you grow it for seed, I might point out that all the plants that I force in winter are all grown in one of my gardens. So the seed of this Kandahar cress was grown last year in the community garden, and as you notice, it's grown in soil, which allows me to harvest them until they're quite big plants. I thin them out eventually and then can harvest a bit later as well, so bigger yields in that way. And then I have here wild buckwheat, Phagopyrum tataricum, which again which self-seeds in my garden, and I harvest the seeds in the autumn mainly for sprouting. Then over here we have this is garlic sprouts from the bulbils. And this is the second cutting that we're cutting now. So these were planted probably a month or two ago. Harvest the first sprouts that came. So we use them for lunch with various other of the greens that we can see here, and then it will sprout once or even twice more before the bulbils give up towards the spring. Then next to it we have probably the most hardy of all the onions that I grow. This is the nodding onion from North America, prairie luck in Norwegian, Allium sonium, the most widespread perennial onion in North America. Extremely hardy, so this pot here has been just been outside until a couple of weeks ago when I moved it in, so they withstand everything that's thrown at it with our winters. So the pot can freeze solid without any problem, and then when I bring it inside they then really start growing nicely. We just harvest them again in a cut and come again process. See, there are various other things coming up here. You can see this, but there's chickweed, a sea of chickweed coming up here. There's over here we have nettle, which has sown itself in the same bucket, and cow parsley, all of course edible, will be used along with the main crop. And then finally we have, least but not least, we have probably the third or fourth forcing of dandelion, just dandelions which appear in the garden. I dig up, I let them grow in the various beds throughout the summer, and then harvest the roots, which are then planted in these big containers with a bit of sterile soil on the top, so there aren't too many weeds, but not totally sterile. There seems to have been a root of a hogweed in there. Luckily hogweed's also edible. So I harvest something between 10 and 15 leaves for lunch every day, and we will also be using the flower stems and flower buds in stir-fry dishes over the next few weeks. So that's about it. My indoor forest garden. We have most of the greens that we need. We're still harvesting Swiss chard, just stored in the cellar since the autumn. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks.